living life, doing our best, and helping families succeed in homeownership. Today, we head to Fernley, Nevada to check out a property that was recently purchased by one of our clients. Now, he's in the middle of the remodel, so it'll be really interesting to see what's being done to the home as he prepares it to be rented out. Let's go check that out. Fernley, Nevada is about 34 miles away from Reno, and depending on where you are within the city, it's about a 30 to 40 minute drive, so it's not bad at all. Fernley is a part of Lyon County, and Lyon County has gone through a significant increase in home values, just as Washoe County. So for example, in the month of August, Fernley County had a median price sold of $410,000, which is a record high for that county. Now, to further clarify, that is not Fernley's median price. Fernley is below that. Fernley's median price sold in the month of August was $375,000, which is less than the county and almost $200,000 less compared to Washoe County, Reno, Sparks area, which is one big reason why Fernley has become such an attractive place, because it's more affordable and you actually get quite a bit for what you're paying for, which is really good. A lot of more families considering the Fernley area because of that. Now, Fernley has been going through this ripple effect. You know, when you stand by the lake and then you drop a pebble in the water and then, you know, the ripples expand slowly but surely? Well, this is exactly what's been going on in Fernley. Ever since Washoe County, Reno, Sparks area has been growing significantly in population, in new companies coming into town, and housing demand, because it's become such a hot place to live in. It's not a secret anymore. Reno, Sparks area is a very desired property, or very desired area for many reasons. One of them being it's so close to Tahoe, which is a gem, the gem of the Sierra Nevadas. This ripple effect has reached them. So as more and more as housing demand continues to rise here in Washoe County, then now their housing demand starts rising as more and more families consider that area. But still very affordable. $200,000, almost $200,000 less than Washoe County, which is pretty spectacular. Now, this particular home we're about to tour is a single family home, and the buyer, his intention was to buy this property and keep it long term and rent it out. Now, this particular sale was a probate sale, which is something that you see every now and then, and I'll elaborate further on what a probate sale is here in a little bit once we get to the house. The honest truth is, when I saw the property for the first time, it was bad. The condition was not good. It was not well maintained. It smells. It probably still smells. But what made it so attractive to this buyer and to everybody was the listing price. It was listed at $225,000, which was 100% intentional. There was no way that home was ever going to sell for $225,000. However, they were trying to create a competitive bidding war ultimately, and it worked. Those situations tend to work. So even though it was listed at $225,000 because of the demand in the area, and even in its poor condition, it ended up being sold for $265,000, which is still a great buy considering the median price in the area. And then once this client finishes all his renovations, because he's doing it right, it'll be well worth over $300,000, which is why it made sense for him to make this purchase. You see, the drive wasn't bad at all. We've made it on site and we're about to tour the property. It is a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 3-car garage, which is pretty cool for the area. 2 cars plus a workout area, that's what I would do at least, right? So let's check it out. It's 1,250 square feet. Like I mentioned, it is in the middle of a remodel, so let's see how the progress is coming along. Like I mentioned on our drive here, this was a probate sale. So what is a probate? So a home is sold in probate when someone dies intestate or without bequeathing the property. When this happens, the state steps in, takes over, and then administers the property's sale. Now, this is all done through a court because the court wants to be 100% certain that it is marketed, that the property is marketed, and that it's being sold at the best possible price. Now, here's what those steps look like. Somebody passes away, unfortunately, and maybe there was no trust, no will, nothing in writing to hand over the property to somebody else. So then the state comes in and then they take over. When they take over, they hire a real estate agent so they can list the property on the multiple listing service to be sold to the open public. In this particular case, the home was listed at $225,000. And we knew this property would not sell at that price. But again, they're trying to create a bidding war and raise that price up. So that's why they went with such a low price. The home ended up being sold to our client at $265,000. So home is listed, an offer is made, and then if there's other offers, then you compete back and forth until there's a winner. In our case, the winner at the moment was our client at $265,000. Now, once the contract is accepted, you're not out of the woods yet. Now that contract has to be presented to the court, and then the court accepts the contract, and then in a date set in the future, it could be a week, it could be a month later, they set a court date. Now, with this court date, something that's really important. The court date will determine if you, the buyer that just won the offer, will end up consummating the purchase. Because what happens is, on this court date, on the designated court date, people can still show up and compete for the home. So if an investor, a family member of the person that passed away, or just anyone in the open public decides to show up to the court and compete for the home, even though our client had an accepted offer, he's not out of the woods. Someone can still compete. In this particular case, the bidding started with $5,000 increments. So our client got it at $265,000. So in order for another party to jump in the mix and try to win the property, they'd have to be willing to offer $270,000. And then from there, you go back and forth. $280,000, $285,000, $290,000, $295,000, and then you keep doing that until somebody decides to walk away. Fortunately for our client, the court date happened and nobody showed up. So then our client was awarded, now for sure, the sale of the property, and then the court gave him 2 to 3 weeks to finalize his financing and get everything done so that way he could finish the purchase of this home. Now, I just said the word financing. When it comes to these types of sales, financing may be allowed. Most of the times you end up seeing investors come in with cash offers and picking up these properties fairly quickly, right? Cash is king, unfortunately. However, in our case, our client was competitive enough in his bidding that he was able to secure the property and still get financing included. Sometimes with distressed sales like a probate sale, the property condition may not be the best. In this particular case, the property condition was terrible. The home was not maintained, there was no carpet, it was literally just bare flooring, and this is why sometimes cash offers tend to win. However, depending on your financing, there are certain financing types that will allow you to purchase a property like this. The only bad news is if you're getting government financing like an FHA, USDA loan, sometimes that type of financing will require that the home be at a certain standard of safety and hazard. And with these probate sales, they're not going to give you time to make repairs. These are as-is sales, and you are not allowed to touch anything or fix anything until you own it. So with government financing, many times you can't get these through because of the property's poor condition. However, with conventional financing, conventional is a little bit more flexible. And with conventional financing, as long as there's no hazard or safety situations, then you can secure the financing even though the property condition may not be the best. You close and then you do your renovations afterwards. Now, every now and then, depending on your lending institution, there is something called an escrow holdback. Not everybody participates in this, but ultimately what an escrow holdback is, the bank wants to make sure that the investment, the house, is good, that it's structurally sound and it doesn't pose a safety or a hazard issue. if the appraiser, because sometimes with these types of sales an appraisal has to be completed, if the appraiser points anything out that he feels is a safety or a hazard, then sometimes you can do what's called an escrow holdback, which is where you make a deposit for the renovations you're trying to do to meet the appraisal requirements. You close, and then you're given 2-3 weeks after the closing to do the renovations. So that's also something that can be explored when it comes to financing properties in poor condition. So here's some things to watch out for if you are purchasing a property that is not in the best condition. Number one, if it's a court sale, be prepared. There is no negotiating with the court. It is being sold as is. So you have to be prepared with the capital to make your renovations. Number two, there will be surprises. As you start your renovations, things are being pulled back. You will find deficiencies which have to be addressed. You want to make sure that you have enough capital. And number three, check with your lending institution to see if you even have the option to do an escrow holdback. Because if they don't offer that option and repairs come up that can't be completed before the closing, then now your sale falls apart. With that being said, we look forward to seeing you on the next one.